I've always wondered why Tails doesn't build hordes among hordes of robots. The kid has an IQ equivalent to Eggman and has used napalm warfare since he was a little baby. Well, sorta? Sonic Origins kinda throws a wrench in Tails' adventure canon. Cause like, Tails' adventure, we see Tails flying, but we also see him first learning how to fly in Origins when he met Sonic and... wow, it's just a mess, isn't it? Moving on. Welcome to Evil Tails Nexus, where my evil alter ego, Evil Nexus, takes over this channel on random occasions when regular Nexus feels too lazy to do things. So, let's get straight up into Evil Core, and I'll explain to you why Tails at the end of Sonic Adventure actually dies, and any further instances of Tails are just hallucinations from a grief-stricken Sonic trying to relive the adventures with his little buddy, and his friends just pretend that he's there because they fear what happens when... oh, we aren't talking about that? Oh, we're talking about Tails and why on Gaia's Green Earth he hasn't built a robot army to completely wipe our favorite egg off the face of the Earth. Sorry, Eggman Nexus, but unfortunately it's true. You're no match for the superiority of the one true Fluffy Fox King. Today, we're talking about him! The two-tailed menace, the fluffy prodigy, the Short King himself, Miles Tails Prower. We're diving headfirst into his ethics and morals, the resources that are right at his fingertips, and just how terrifying his actual technological prowess really is if you stop to think about it. Now, fair warning, this isn't based on any one game, nor am I gonna hold your hand through strict canon and lore. This is pure theory crafting territory, which means you're more than welcome to disagree, call me insane, or drop your own observations. But at the end of the day, you can't deny that when it comes to Tails, the potential for what if is endless. Now, why doesn't Tails actually build robots? Well, he does. Sort of. I mean, I wouldn't exactly call the Cyclone a robot, it's more of a mech suit. But if we're talking about proper, fully autonomous bots, Tails has dipped his fluffy little toes into that territory. Just not really in the mainline games. Now, in the Archie comics, we got T-Pup, in Tails' Adventure there's the Remote Robot, and in Sonic Boom he went and made Hypnobot. Though, let's be honest here, Boom really shouldn't be taken too seriously, so I'm just gonna politely sweep that one under the rug. Now, before you jump in to correct me, yes, I am fully aware that T-Pup and the Remote Robot are technically related. Well, sort of. T-Pup is based on the Remote Robot, but if we're being accurate, the Remote Robot's proper name would actually be the Sea Fox, since that's what it transforms into. And, fun fact, the name T-Pup never actually shows up in the games at all. So while T-Pup borrows from Remote Robot, they aren't the same thing, just cousins who happen to operate in a very similar way. And because they work similarly, I'm lumping them together here. Remote Robot has some neat tricks. It can be directly controlled by Tails, it flies infinitely, it's immune to damage, it can scout ahead for danger, and it transforms into the submersible Sea Fox. Now, just because it's immune to damage doesn't mean I'd call it indestructible. This is old school coding jank we're talking about. Immunity in-game doesn't necessarily mean canon durability. But remember when I said fully autonomous robots? Yeah, Remote Robot is the opposite of that. It only works when Tails is actively controlling it, which is why T-Pup steps in to fill the gap. T-Pup is autonomous, Remote Robot is not. Same, but different.
We are same, but different.
But enough about my fluffy son's jank-coded Robodog. Let's talk about someone who can actually build robots. Eggman. While Tails is out here tinkering away on his Robo Golden Retriever that can fly, Eggman's busy cranking out machinery that violates every single article in the Geneva Convention and then invents new ones just so he can break those too. In the very first game alone, before Tails even existed, Eggman had already built entire legions of robots. We're talking ball hogs, choppers, crabbeats, motorbugs, caterpillars, buzzbobbins, and neutrons. Eggman basically created the 3 Michelin-star fine dining standard of killer robotics before Tails had even figured out how to tie his shoes. But Nexus, there are little animals inside the robots. Doesn't that mean they aren't autonomous either? Well, not exactly. The Bannocs use the animals more like batteries and processors, a cute little CPU that also doubles as an energy source. It's grim, but it works. And they don't even need them. In Sonic CD, instead of animals popping out when you destroy them, you sometimes get these weird flowers, meaning, yeah, they're still fully robotic, fully autonomous, and all running on one shared mission directive, make Sonic's life miserable. So, why is Eggman cranking out whole armies of AI-driven mechs while Tails is still programming fetch.exe into T-Pup? Well, that comes down to one big factor. Actually, multiple factors. But this is the biggest of the bunch.
You must construct additional pylons.
To say Eggman is the embodiment of megalomania, capitalism, and authoritarianism is, well, yeah, that's not even an exaggeration, that's just accurate. Wants to turn everyone into robots to serve him forever? Authoritarianism? Check. Has a chokehold on literally every industry Sonic and his friends run across? Megalomania? Check. Runs multiple casinos that quite literally shake the money out of you? Capitalism? Triple check. The man doesn't just dabble in industry, he is industry. Need proof? Let's take a quick trip back to Sonic Colors. Eggman casually builds an elevator to the moon, then he constructs a theme park in the cold, unforgiving void of space, and just for kicks, he slaps on a fully livable atmosphere so the guests don't, suffocate. And he still has enough pocket change left over to mass-produce armies of robots and even a mind control beam or two. This guy isn't just rich, he's obscenely rich. He's operating on a level of science and industry that makes real-world billionaires look like kids playing with Lego. Honestly, Eggman's pulling off feats that even Elon Musk dreams of, which is kind of terrifying when you think about it. If Elon's goal is to terraform Mars, we might actually be witnessing the origin story of a real-life Eggman. So, what does our fluffy two-tailed prodigy get in terms of resources? Well, a house. But not just any house. A house that looks like him. Narcissist much? Actually, scratch that, he gets several. Turns out Tails is kind of a real estate mogul. The kid's sitting on like 3 workshops, 3 labs, and 3 houses. 2 of those houses literally have his face on them. He's like 12 years old and already owns more property than most of us ever will. Someone tell me how he's paying taxes on all this.
And if only there was somebody to blame.
Well, wait, don't worry. I've got an answer, and it's gonna get weird. See, Tails was born on West Side Island, and that's important for tax reasons later. After his first adventure with Sonic, he went on vacation to Coco Island where he fought the Cuckoo Empire. And here's the kicker. Cuckoo Island is geographically close to West Island. Now West Island, that's not just a throwaway name. I did some digging and you can actually go there right now. It's real. It's called the Cocos Keeling Islands, Australian territory way out in the Indian Ocean. And on those islands, a specific place called West Island, and just a hop away, Christmas Island. You know, the place where Sonic canonically comes from.
Coincidence? I think not!
Put it together, and what do you get? That's right, Sonic and Tails are bona fide true blue Aussie blokes. Forget Mobius, mate. They've been ours this whole time. Now, why does this matter? Well, because if Sonic and Tails are Aussie, then they've got to play by Aussie rules. And down here, we've got some very funny tax exemption laws. See, even if you're a minor, you still have to pay taxes in Australia, unless you fall into a very specific category, one of those being the double orphan pension. Basically, to qualify, you gotta be under 18 and have both parents dead. Now Tails, no one can exactly agree how old he is, but everyone can agree he's definitely under 18. His parents though, well, they're not confirmed dead. They weren't killed off in the Archie comics either. That kind of suggests they're still floating around somewhere, right? Well, not exactly. See, if we look at the whole Ken Penders and Archie lawsuit mess, things get interesting. Penders owns the rights to Amadeus Prower, Tails' dad, but not to Rosemarie Prower, his mum. Problem is, you can't exactly keep one parent without the other, so both got wiped clean from canon, meaning in the official games, Tails has no parents at all, which technically makes him a double orphan. This means our little two-tailed friend gets to have his cake and eat it too. All these properties and not a single cent paid in tax. Talk about living the dream. But hey, even dodging the tax man can't cover everything. Real estate, labs, aircraft maintenance, napalm experiments, it all adds up. So how does Tails actually keep the funds rolling in? Does he scrap Badnik parts during adventures with Sonic? Maybe he's got a government grant for being a local hero, or some mysterious benefactor quietly bankrolling him in the shadows. The truth? It's way better than that.
Let's go gambling!
Yeah! Tails' main source of income comes straight from his crippling gambling addiction, and yes, it's real. The kid's a slot machine fiend, a blackjack junkie, and an absolute sucker for the roulette wheel. Those pretty black, green, and red tiles spinning all day long. But Nexus, you're probably saying, that's just from old Gad comics, right? Those aren't canon. Well, buckle up, because I've got your proof. Concrete, unshakable, 100% Sega stamped evidence. Enter one of my favorite Sonic games of all time, Team Sonic Racing. And before you try to argue, no, it's not just some spin-off. It's canon. Fully, completely, absolutely canon. Now, in this game, you can play the story mode, and you bet your rings I played the entire thing as Tails. And during the intro sequence on Casino Park, I caught a very sneaky little line. Turns out, our sweet little fox boy is banned from the place for counting cards. Just when you thought Tails was the picture-perfect angel, boom, Hornsprout, tail flares, and suddenly he's revealed as a dirty gambling sinner. But seriously, why would you even need to count cards unless you really need to win? And with Casino Park being naturally run by Eggman, because let's be real, that man owns everything, there's big money on the table, and Tails, he'll use any trick in the book to rake in those big dollar bills. And also, fun fact, casino winnings in Australia, tax-free, double win. So yeah, this proves where Tails' resources come from. Sure, they pale in comparison to Eggman's bottomless vault of oil money and moon elevators, but it's still enough moolah to reasonably fund a robot army, right? Surely. Except, no. The issue isn't funding. It's not even the fact that he couldn't build one. The problem actually stems from... Simply put, Tails doesn't build a robot army because he doesn't want to be Eggman. He's seen the destruction Eggman leaves in his wake. He's lived through it firsthand. Why would he ever want to mirror the tactics of the one person he spent his entire childhood fighting against? Tails has always been built on compassion first, invention second. He doesn't create things for conquest, he creates to help. The Tornado 2, a way to fight and fly alongside Sonic. The Sea Fox, a tool to explore, not to dominate. Even his mechs are designed more for support than overwhelming force. He's the kind of guy who will burn the midnight oil just to make sure his inventions don't hurt people. And here's the kicker. Building an army of robots, even with the best intentions, edges dangerously close to Eggman's philosophy. It turns people into generals, leaders, commanders, but Tails doesn't want to command. He wants to stand shoulder to shoulder with Sonic and his friends, not above them. He doesn't want soldiers who follow orders, he wants companions who choose to fight for what's right. That's why we get T-Pup instead of a mechanized militia. That's why his greatest creations tend to be planes, gadgets, and support systems, not battalions of battle droids. Because to Tails, invention isn't about power. It's about connection. And which fits the bill better? An unstoppable robot army at his beck and call, or a small, goofy robo-companion that looks a little like him? It's not versatile, it's not earth-shattering, but it's helpful, it's loyal, and most importantly, it's Tails. Now, here's where Tails gets really interesting. The balance between results matter and morals first. On one hand, you've got the utilitarian side. The part of him that knows logically that a robot army could technically save more lives. More eyes in the sky, more hands to fix problems, more firepower to stop Eggman before he even tries anything. From a cold, mathematical standpoint, building a small legion of mechs makes sense. But then there's a deontological side. The part of him that says, no, I don't care how many people this could help. Turning living decisions into cold commands isn't right. Tails isn't just a genius inventor, he's a moral genius. He understands that doing the right thing isn't always about efficiency or results. It's about the kind of person you are when you do it. And this is why T-Pup exists, why Remote Robot exists, why his mechs are tools, not soldiers. He's finding the sweet spot between effectiveness and ethics. He wants to make a difference, yes, but he refuses to compromise the principles that make him, well, Tails. Loyalty, kindness, empathy, selflessness, these are non-negotiables. So, every invention, every gadget, every little flying robo-dog is a reflection of that balance. Tails could be a warlord of machines if he wanted, but then he wouldn't be Tails. And that, my friends, is why our favorite two-tailed fox remains the most terrifyingly ethical genius in the Sonic universe. And let's not forget the Cyclone. Now, this thing is basically a walking, flying mini super weapon capable of handling situations most people would hand off to a fully armed robot army. But here's the thing, it's not a robot, it's a mech. Sure, but it's under Tails' complete control at all times. No rogue AI, no autonomous decisions, no ethical loopholes. He's the one making the calls, which is where my favorite quote from Civilization comes in.
There is no shame in deterrence. Having a weapon is very different from actually using it.
That's exactly Tails. He builds incredible tools, machines that could easily be militarized or used for domination, but he doesn't. The Cyclone exists as a deterrent, a tool, a safeguard, but never a weapon to impose his will. It's the perfect encapsulation of his philosophy. Power doesn't have to corrupt, and control doesn't have to be tyranny. Tails could go full Eggman if he wanted, but he chooses not to. And that choice, that's what makes him truly scary in the best way possible. And that's a wrap. Everything I wanted to cover in this topic has been said, but I'm genuinely curious. How do you interpret all this? Since this video is really about interpretation, maybe there's a detail I skimmed over, a giant plot line my brain conveniently forgot, or maybe I finally hit the nail on the head. If you're new here and want to see more, why not hit that subscribe button, like the video, show some love, and as always, keep flying high.